is good, yo? It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today we are going to be talking about some kind of tips and tricks that I have if you are no money spent, or if you're a budget baller, or kind of just starting the game, whatever it is. If you don't have all the MT in the world, all the money in the world, and yet you want to have a good team, you want to have fun with the game, and you want to have some success, gonna be bringing that all in this video today. Now, boy, before we dive into any of that, if you are new to my channel and have not yet, please consider smashing that subscribe button, as we're on the road and closing in on 70,000 subscribers. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is a card in general that I think is a cheat code, okay? Whether you get the pink diamond Bol Bol or whether you guys spend a ton of MT locking in this splash zone set, the difference between the Bol Bols, yes, there's a difference, but there's not a big enough difference in which the majority of people are even going to realize it. So one thing I recommend you guys doing is, if you are no money spender, if you are kind of balling on a budget, is buying a Bol Bol. Now, I would be lying if I told you to just get the cheapest Bol Bol available. Yeah, just go get the cheapest Bol Bol available. It should be around 32,000 MT. Yeah, just get the cheapest one available. On the flip side of things, what I would recommend is don't just get any Bol Bol. So for example, you see this one has 32 Hall of Famers, 36. This one has 41. This one has 42. And they're basically the same price. Now, try to find one with the right badges that you specifically want. And that's really what I suggest. If you can get a Bol Bol with 24 Hall of Fame badges for the era and time we're in for 30,000 MT, that's a massive W. So just compare this Bol Bol to the Bol Bol that you have. I'm pretty sure I actually have a Bol Bol in my collection. So for example, you guys can see what extra the Hall of Famers the Bol Bol has. This Bol Bol actually has more Hall of Famers than mine even has, which is just wild to think about it, because I got a Bol Bol with 39 Hall of Fame badges. You want to know what's crazy about it? That Bol Bol for me still plays in tournaments, still plays in competitive games, and he gets by just fine. So for 30,000 MT, that should be kind of the first thing you focus on, is getting a Bol Bol for cheap, and really getting one with some extra Hall of Famers, because you can definitely kind of not necessarily cheat the system, but get a very good player for his specific price. So if you start your team out with Bol Bol for 30,000 MT, there's also another thing that I would recommend you guys grinding, and that is some of these spotlight challenges. Now, if you only want one or two players, if you want to have fun with the game, the majority of your fun is not going to come from grinding spotlight challenges. But if you get one challenge done, this is the challenge I suggest, okay? You have to win the game and prevent an opposing player from scoring 10 points using Ruby or lower tier cards. So this challenge is not the easiest, because you're up against Kobe Bryant. But I'm going to kind of assemble a squad that you could probably get this challenge done with. Now, obviously, the squad I'm going to go out there with is going to be decent enough. I'm not just going to go out there with scrubs. The squad I'm going to put together is going to be solid enough. But really, you got to use Ruby or lower cards. Kyle Anderson's a card you're probably going to want to use. Same thing with like a Wendell Carter Jr. You're just going to want to put together a very good defensive lineup. That's something that I would suggest for you guys. So I'm going to plug Jaren Jackson in here, and then as well as Wendell Carter Jr. So you don't have to use all Ruby cards. So obviously your bench has to be filled with Ruby players as well. Now, the only difficult part about this challenge to me is the fact that you're up against the invincible Kobe Bryant, okay? So they're going to be running with scrubs and then invincible Kobe, and then you basically have to hold your opponent to 10 points or less than with any specific player. So the team can score 30 plus points, but as long as one of the players for your opponent doesn't score that, you're just fine. So for example, I'm going to hop into a game and kind of go over my specific strategy. If you're just starting out the game, you're wondering how to get Cam Reddish. Well, what I do is I go in here into defensive settings. I go to Kobe Bryant, smother, on ball, tight off ball, and then where it says double team, I want double team on catch. And then double team perimeter on catch. I want to double team him basically every time he has the ball. Make somebody else outside of Kobe Bryant beat me. Now, I'm not going to play this whole game. I'm just going to play about a minute of it so you guys kind of understand how to get Cam Reddish. You can do this on both current and next gen. The concepts are going to be basically identical. So on defense, what you want to do is really, what I try doing is I try forcing my opponent to have long possessions. That's the first thing. The second thing, make any of these dudes outside of Kobe Bryant shoot the ball. And when you get the ball, you want to have long possessions. Okay, I repeat, long possessions. Now, on offense, what I would do is I would just equip the Hawks freelance. That's going to be the kind of the easiest bucket you can get. You get in that freelance, and then you just get in this 5 out. Now, once you're in this 5 out, what you want to do is you want to just get easy buckets. I usually go right around the 5 mark, 5-6 on the shot clock. and try to just get a slam dunk. Because already we're 30 seconds into the game. That might not seem like a lot, but that's basically 1/40th of the game, over 2% of the game, and we haven't allowed any points for my opponent. Again, once Kobe does anything, you just want to send a double team. Make any of the CPUs do anything, and honestly, just force a CPU catch, right? Just send constant bodies at Kobe Bryant. Just try to keep the ball away from him as in any way possible, right? I'm double teaming him with Jaren Jackson, forcing these basically nobodies, right? These guys are not going to score 10 points, obviously, to do nothing. Now, here's another kind of tip and trick. When you're inbounding the ball, you hold Y, make them roll it in, and you're going to waste 5 to 6 more seconds per possession, which might not seem like a lot, but at the end of the game, you're going to save yourself 2 or 3 possessions. So that's kind of my brief strategy on how to beat the Kobe Bryant challenge. It's not the Cam Reddish challenge. It might not be the easiest thing to do, but you shouldn't have that much difficulty. So obviously, if you can start your team with Bol Bol and Cam Reddish, that's what I suggest. Because Cam's one of my top shooting guards in the game, if not the top shooting guard, and Bol Bol is a more than serviceable power forward. It actually is my backup power forward right now. So after those two things, if you are no money spent or budget balling, like my no money spent squad series, if you guys do use that, what you gotta try to do is be smart with your MT. Now, there's a variety of ways to do this, and I'm gonna be breaking down some of these. This is my 3rd out of 5, right? Being smart with your MT. But really, what it gets down to, right? Jonathan Isaac came out today, okay? Now, I get it, we're late in the year, but let's say we were in March and this Dark Matter Jonathan Isaac came out. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. These Jonathan Isaacs right in here aren't gonna go for as much as a Jonathan Isaac that's spaced out properly. Like, if you want to get a Jonathan Isaac, I look in this time slot because you got 3 ending all within 10 seconds. Whereas if you scroll later on, right, let me find one for an example. You got this one who is 6 minutes away from the next Jonathan Isaac. So this one, the next is 10 minutes away. So that's the first thing about being smart. You want to get cards for as cheap as possible. I just saw some Jonathan Isaacs go for upwards of 170. Now you're probably going to see some go for under 150. But the main thing about this is I guarantee 2 weeks from now, Jonathan Isaac will be a buy now. I would be willing to bet a lot of money on that. So again, maybe even possibly on Friday, we'll see Jonathan Isaac be a buyout. So if you are no money spent balling on a budget, you have to be smart with your MT. For me personally, I like Jonathan Isaac. I want Jonathan Isaac, but I know his price is going to go down. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when he first came out, was what? It's over 500K. Now the Dark Matter Kareem's barely, I got mine for just over 300K the other day. So you just got to be smart with your MT. Play it out. Okay, don't get players right the same day that they come out. Wait a day or two, and they're going to go way down in price. If this Jonathan Isaac is not a buyout by Friday, I would be absolutely stunned. The next thing I'm going to talk about today for you guys is something that I wouldn't say is needed, but something that you guys should look at when not only buying a player, but when using a player. For example, let's talk about this Kristaps Porzingis, okay? When you go about applying badges to Kristaps, okay, he still has 5 badge spots available, and I've added the handles for days and stop and go badge. Now, if I play competitively, which I do, or if you guys take this card into unlimited, the badges that you might want on him, Space Creator, Slithery Finisher, Ankle Breaker. He doesn't have any of those. So if I was to buy another Kristaps, if I was you guys and I was like, man, I really want Kristaps for my team, he's a buy now, what Kristaps should I get? Should I just get the cheapest one? Well, what I would encourage you guys to do is not necessarily get the cheapest one. Look for a Kristaps that's fully badged, okay? This one obviously has 52 Hall of Fame badges, so that's the first one that gets my interest if I was to buy another Kristaps. Blinders on current gen obviously isn't good. But this one catches my eye. This one has 22 gold badges where mine only has 18 or 19, so then you look, what gold badges does he have? He has all of those badges, has the ankle breaker, has the badges that you might want for him. So this is the Porzingis I would buy. So you just got to kind of think about those things. Because if I was to apply ankle breaker to a Kristaps Porzingis, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to be super expensive. But it's going to add up, right? All these badges eventually add up. So don't always just get the cheapest player, right? Think about it in a sense of, okay, do I want to really spend, let's look at bronze ankle breaker, for example. 7,000 is the cheapest. Silver is going to be upwards of 2,000 as well. So you're looking at least 10,000 just for one badge right there. Now, on the contract side of things, guys, if I was to load into an unlimited game right now, it wouldn't be a problem. But if once your Dark Matter contracts expire, there's 600 MT. Now, right now, contracts, you're looking at over 600 MT, so it's not that big of an issue if you just purchase contracts. But what I would personally do, guys, what I've done a lot, is sometimes you can get 20 bulk contracts. So what you do is you search silver contracts anywhere in here, right? I usually do it right in here. And you look for stacks of 20. If you can find stacks of 20 contracts, that's really what you're looking for, because contracts are as expensive as they are right now. It's so tough because it puts you at a disadvantage, right? You always are going to need contracts, and if you don't have them, again, it's just so tough. Now, right now, there's not any bulk contracts up right now. But for example, if you had a 20 stack of contracts just sitting here, right? Like here, if I send stack to my auctions, right? If I put these stack of contracts up for 5,000 MT, right? Just 5,000 MT, somebody's gonna get an absolute steal. So that's what I would look for when buying contracts. Look for the bulk ones. That's just something that I personally do, and something I would definitely recommend you guys to look into if that's something you're about. For example, here's a 20 stack for 11,000 MT, but just try to look for some in that cheaper area, 5,000 to 8,000. Contracts are expensive as they are right now. The last of the 5 things that I'm going to talk about today is, if you are no money spent, if you are a budget baller, the thing that is most important is you do not have to play the game as a competitive player 24/7. For me, my squad is basically the best it can be. If I was going to unlimited, this is probably the squad I would go out there with. But let's say you're not, like, let's say you're not me, right? Let's say you're a big, for example, Houston Rockets fan, right? Or not Houston Rockets. Let's say you're a big Brooklyn Nets fan, okay? And you want to use Kevin Durant, you want to use James Harden. Those are usable cards, so go ahead and use them, right? You don't have to use the set in stone cards that I have on my team. For example, I'm a Timberwolves fan, so you can use guys like the Dark Matter Malik Beasley, guys like, for example, the Anthony Edwards, guys like Karl Anthony Towns. You don't have to have the most meta team in the game. If you don't enjoy using LeBron James, if you hate LeBron, don't use him. Use players you enjoy. Same thing, if you enjoy 300, use a guy like Luka Doncic, Dwayne Wade. You don't have to use the meta lineups. I know when I do my breakdowns, right, tier list, ranking list, whatever it is, I tell you guys who is the best card in the game, because I want you guys to have success. But at the end of the day, take who is good, right, and who you don't like. For example, I don't like Joel Embiid, but I have fun using him in 2K. I don't like Kevin Durant in real life necessarily, but I love hooping with him in 2K. And there's just some players that you like hooping with in 2K, and just some players you're not really a big fan of, although they're good. So just ultimately have fun with the game. That's what the game's for. I feel like the competitive purpose is sometimes taking it out. But use players you enjoy, guys. But that is going to wrap it up for the top 5 things, if you are no money spent, if you are a budget baller, to look at, okay? Getting Peak Diamond Bol Bol, Cam Reddish are the first 2 things. Making sure you're smart with your MT. You can take advantage of the badge system, contract system this year, especially. And last thing, just have fun with the game. Use players that you have fun with. Same thing in Triple Threat Online. You don't necessarily have to use the best. If I'm going to go into Triple Threat Online wanting to win the game, I'd probably go in there with Kareem, with Porzingis, with whoever. But I have more fun using LeBron James, those types of players. So that's the last thing for you guys to kind of look at. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. And have a blessed day.